All right, so we're back now. Yay, good. So, good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and this is to you from wherever you're joined in from. This is Refining Moment with Lady UC, a talk show that we will be addressing a very important discussion topic this evening. So, welcome. If you're live here with us, I'd like for you to just say something in the comment section. I need to know that at least I have once I have 1 or 2% here, we'll just start off immediately and others will join us as we progress. So if you're watching already, if you can see me, if you can hear me, kindly say hello in the chat and I would see you. Please let me just give me a moment. Let me get my feedback. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Is there anyone who can see me? Ooh, okay. Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening. Please, if you're online, just let me know. Our guest is here already and would like for us to just kickstart immediately. We do not want to waste any time. Once I have 1 or 2 just say that they're here, we would just start immediately. I'm so excited about this evening. I'm really so excited because of what I already envisaged that I look forward to happening to everyone who would connect. Either they connect live, because I know that some people had reached out and I said that they probably like to watch later, but it will be just, best for anyone to connect and watch us live because, see, yeah, I think I have someone. Ooh, okay. Yes, I am. Okay, please let me try and confirm. Please just hold on. Darling tree. Darling Jesus, darling Jesus. Oh, my darling Jesus, you're a wonderful God. Thank you, Lord. So let me just play my music. So what's that link again? Sure. Okay, I think, yeah. You. Okay, please let me just can I get everyone? I'd like to think that people are seeing us. This is already 5 minutes into the time. Okay, where's that? Is the link to our podcast now? Hello, is there anyone here yet? But once I have one or two persons, but I need to even know that you can see us, you can hear me before we start off. Don't mind me, I'm still trying to get a hang of this whole, life thing, live stream, but I will be fine. Is there anyone who can see us? Yeah. Oh, okay. I think I just have to monitor myself. All right. So let me see. I'm already all sweaty. Oh, why are we not live here? Oh my God. There's something that is not right. What is it? Oh, where did I go live to? Jesus Christ. Okay. I don't think my people can see. Whoa, we might have to end this stream now. You on YouTube, let's see. Yeah, I see myself now here on YouTube, and I can like it. Oh, my bad. Oh my God. I put it on private. Jesus Christ. So, my God, it wasn't public. Jesus. Okay, save changes. Now we are good to go. Okay, so now we're here, we're live. Please, if you can see me, just say something. It's too private. Hey, my God. What am I doing to myself this year? Yeah, it's public. That's what it said. Good. Thank you. Okay, so if you can see me, kindly just send me a chat in the chat. But I made a mistake, but it's fine. Let me know. Just say hello, Uche. Hello. I need to know that someone is watching me. Once we have a 2 or 3%, we're good to go. Yeah. So I can see. Oh, okay, fantastic, man. Thank you so much. So finally, we're here. Okay, so good evening, everyone. This is Refining Moments with Lady UC Talk Show. And the topic that we're dealing with, sorry, I have to turn this off. This has to go off. Thank you. Thank you. Good. Okay. All right. So, welcome once again to Refined Moments Talk Show. And this is a channel where we talk about, we are about conversations catered to your personal grooming, character development, relationship management, like we will be dealing on today. We're also big on marriage, relationship, and family life. We are about ensure that they live the life that God originally created for them to live. And that's why we're having this conversation this evening. Okay. We're having this conversation this evening with someone that I respect so much, someone that I admire a lot, someone that has, impacted my life in a very short while of my, having contact with her. So she's here already, she's been around, and I just want to apologize. I had to set the live stream for private because I was trying to test run and all that. That's why I had the whole mix up. But we're here, and that's what matters. We're here and we're ready for all that this evening has for us. But you know what? We're going to start. In fact, we started already, and I'm just going to, do my intro and bring up our guest immediately. But I'd like for you to do something, please. For those of you who are here right now, I'd need for you to copy the link. Like as I'm, you know, saying it right now. I need you to copy the link and go and share to everyone that you can possibly share to. This is the conversation. The conversation that we're going to be having today is a conversation a lot of people need to be a part of. And I'm not even kidding you. A lot of people need to be a part of this conversation today because of what is happening. Yeah, thank you. So because of what's currently happening in the world today. So let me give you a hint of what I'm talking about. So this very recently, I was told of a marriage relationship that was just about over 20 years. That one of the partners decided to walk away. I mean, he just said that he's had it up to this point, that he can't take it anymore, and that he's done with marriage. You would look at those people and say, oh my God, these people have done 20 years already. So there's absolutely nothing that's going to tear them apart. They are here for it. But I mean, it is happening, and these are not news that are new to us. Okay, these are not news that are new to us. And the topic that we're dealing on today is the need for intentional preparation before marriage. I mean, I know that some people will have questions like, is there a need for anybody to prepare for marriage? But I'm telling you, there is a need. Because sometimes I even ponder at what point do we have time to prepare? I'm not talking about passive preparation now. I'm talking about intentional preparation where you know and you're telling yourself that I'm preparing for marriage and you're doing everything necessary for that to happen, okay? I know that, some people would ask, okay, so at what point should I start to prepare for marriage? And even me, I'm asking, because that's why it has to be intentional. That's why the word intentional is there. Because, I've played this scenario in my head. You know how it is for us, especially in this part of the world, where a child, grows up, gets to primary school, from primary school gets to secondary school. Some people even send their children to boarding school. Right after secondary school, they come out, and then graduate and get into higher institution of learning. And it's at that point that they're already talking about relationship. So people already start to talk about relationship even while they're in secondary schools, right? And then it's at that point they're already having relationship with the opposite sex and all that. And some people, just right after their graduation, they're already getting, talking about getting married, especially for the female folks. You know how it is in this part of the world where your family members are just on your neck. That's right now that you're done, especially if you're a lady, now that you're done with your school, the next thing you need to do is to go and bring a husband. You know what? I know that a lot of us can relate because we have, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us have had a fair share. Even the interesting part of this is that even when your direct family members are not on you, sometimes because it tends to be that they understand you, your pressure from your peers, people around you, neighbors, they just somehow look for a way to chip these questions in, and they're asking you about, so when are you going to bring this person home? So when is this? So when, there's this pressure here and there. And the next thing is you're parading houses, prayer house activities. You're parading prayer houses, looking for a pastor to pray for you to get married. And all of this time, it doesn't occur to you that there's a need for you to prepare for that, that aspect of your life that you're looking to starting. So, and because of this negligence, a lot of people are paying dearly for it. A lot of people are paying very dearly for it. I'm telling you the truth. That's why you see people hopping into marriage and the next minute they jump out of the marriage because they just can't stand it. And like our guest once said to my hearing, she said, see, the people who engage or find themselves in bad marriage are not necessarily bad people. It's just that they are breaking principles. Don't worry, you're going to hear a lot from her. She's loaded. She's loaded. So this is me just doing this introduction, and I'm just using this time, out to get you ready and get your pen, get your book, get everything that you've been needing to grasp, because it's going to be an empowering moment. Trust me, it's going to be an empowering time, an empowering moment. And there's something also that we also would like to announce to you. So we would need for you to stay tuned till the end of this talk show. Okay, so right now I can't even see your questions, but I'm about to bring our guest up. I'm done talking, so you will have our guest come up right now, and I'm going to read her bio, and then we'll get straight on to the conversation. Okay, good. So I need to quickly see what you're saying to be sure that you're following. Please, if you can follow me, say yes, I can. If you can hear me, rather, say yes, I can. Let me quickly get the feedback from YouTube. Just let me know that you can see me and that you can hear me and that you're ready. In fact, if you're ready for our guests, say I'm ready, please. I need for you to say that I'm ready if you're ready for our guests. Good. Okay, so beautiful. Good. Okay. Hello, I'm super ready. Yeah, Chisom says I'm super ready. We can see you now. Good evening. Thank you so much. So we're gonna go right into it. Please, if you've not shared the link, go ahead and share the link, please. It's important that a lot more people. We're looking at least about 100 to 200 people being a part of this broadcast. Okay, so right about now, this is the moment that we have been waiting for. I'm just gonna bring up our guests. Yeah. Okay. Right. It may interest you to know that she's someone that you're already familiar with because I mean, thank you, Mommy Mo. Was so honored, so excited. If you can tell, you can see that I'm excited to have you, ma'am. Welcome,
And, I,
ma'am.
and I'm very excited to be here as well. Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome, ma'am. You're very welcome, ma'am. All right. So we are just I'm just going to read your brief bio and then we'll get straight to it. So, um, Mrs. Modupe Ehirim is the founder of and lead counselor. Okay, please, I have to turn this off because thank you. So, Mrs. Modupe Ehirim is the founder of and lead counselor at the Right Fit Marriage Academy. She works with men and women to become persons that their spouses look forward to when they come home. Using the Right Fit Marriage Program, Modupe Ehirim guides young professionals to intentionally design and build healthy and long-lasting marriages. She is a certified SIMBIS, Save Your Marriage Before It Starts facilitator. SIMBIS assessment gives you a personalized roadmap to making your marriage everything it was meant to be. She's also a certified family systems engineering practitioner. The network of FSC practitioners comprises of practitioners who work to restore dignity to human relationships in marriage, parenting, and family life. Okay. Modupe has okay, so Modupe has varied experiences. She graduated with first class honors in chemical engineering from University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University in 1980. She then worked for the Central Bank of Nigeria, building and engineering services for 17 years before setting up a specialty retail bookstore business, which she operated for 15 years. She has served on the national executive committees of two business membership organizations, Christian Bookseller Association Nigeria, CBAN, and NECA's Network of Entrepreneur Women, NNEW. She's currently a member of the board of Oasis International, publishers of the Africa Study Bible, and chair board of the Africa Speaks 2018 Trust. Mrs. Modupe is an avid reader. She's also passionate about relationships and marriages. She mentors young people, helping them to chart their life's path. She teaches on marriage topics daily in the Right Fit. Okay, she teaches on marriage topics daily in the Right Fit Marriage Academy, a Facebook community that currently has over 19,000 members. I am a part of that community, and I can tell you for a fact that a lot of rich content is shared on that platform by Mommy Mo. Okay. She's also the counselor on the popular weekly relationship and marriage show, Mama's Corner, aired on Wazobia 95.1 FM radio. She is the author of Marriage is Not a Trap and 30 Reasons Why Couples Quarrel About Money. Of the Yoruba origin, she's happily married to Mr. Boniface, a husband of over 37 years, who is of Igbo origin. Together, they have four amazing children. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, I mean, if your hands, okay, so just look for a way to put the clap. Use the clap emoji in the in the comments, but you can still clap literally from where you are, right? Please put your hands together and welcome with me Mrs. Modupe Ehirim, aka Mommy Mo. Please, let's welcome her. Mommy Mo, it's so good to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much, Uche. And my head is swelling as you are just reading all
Let it
those things
swell,
about.
let it swell, let it swell, Mama, let it swell. Ah, you have tried, Ma. Come on. It's so good
Thank
to have you,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you for
Okay,
coming.
you're welcome, ma'am. So we're just going to go straight into the conversation. And the topic that we're dealing on this evening is the need for intentional preparation before marriage. And to kickstart, I just want to ask you, ma'am, I mean, why should people, is there a need really for, for people to prepare before marriage? I ask this because I know that a good number of people would say, see, what are you talking about? What preparation is there for marriage? Marriage is something that should happen naturally. In fact, I heard someone actually teach this and said, and made reference to Eve, like, what marriage preparation did Eve do? Or, things like that, conversations like that. So we want to know, yes, ma'am, why should anybody prepare, much less intentionally prepare for marriage? Please, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And that's a really great question for us to start with. It's a question that I get asked all the time. And to be honest, if you had asked me this question some 10, 15 years ago, myself, I too would be wondering, why do people need to prepare for marriage?
Mm.
There are numerous reasons why people should prepare for marriage, but I think the one that I would like to focus on is this. Many things have changed. I hope that you all can still hear me. Many things have changed. Many things have changed. If you can hear me, please let me know in the chat box that you can hear. Please let me know that you can hear me in the chat box. Okay. I'm going to assume that you all can still hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay. I'm assuming that you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic. Thank you for
I can
letting
hear
me
you
know.
very clearly, ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
then. So, why do we need to prepare for marriage? Why should we even be intentional about preparing for marriage? I think the very first reason is because times have changed. Times have changed. What do I mean by times have changed? So, for many of us, when our grandparents were going to marry, your grandfather and your grandmother probably came from the same village or they came from neighboring villages. What that meant is that, one, they grew up in a community where they knew one another, people knew one another, vision for life was about the same. Their parents have been meeting in the market, their parents have been meeting in the farm. Um, Views of life are the same. So when you get to marriageable age and you say, I want to marry somebody, the person that you want to marry, you already know a lot about that person. That's the first thing. Secondly, in those days, people were actually taught about marriage. So when you hear that statement, is that how you are going to be doing in your husband's house? It was part of a conversation of showing a woman what marriage will be like. And the men also were told by their fathers what marriage would be like. So by the time you turn 18 and you want to marry, you already have a lot of awareness. You have been seeing people, your uncles, your aunties, the people. But what is critical in that environment in the village is that everybody has the same perspective about marriage. Everybody has the same vision for life. Then people started moving to the cities. And when people started moving to the cities, people started meeting people that didn't have the same background as them. They started meeting people who were strangers to them. They started meeting people who did not have the same views about life, Of course, that also means that they start meeting people who may not have exactly the same ideas about marriage. Just before I came onto this program, a young lady sent a message to me. She's from the southeastern part of Nigeria, and she met somebody who comes from the middle belt in Nigeria. And they were friends and they were thinking of marrying, and the boy's parents are saying absolute no, and the girl is very devastated. So as we moved to the city, we started meeting with strangers, people who we are not very familiar with. Also, when we live in the city, people go to school, people do a lot of other things. So there is nobody who is consciously teaching you about marriage, how to choose a partner, what you should be looking for, why you should choose one person or not another one. You go to boarding house, you are with your age mates. You go to university, you are with your age mates. Then you come out of university, and all of a sudden, everybody expects you to know how to pick a wife, to know how to pick a husband, to know how to get married and do everything. Because there is now this gap, anybody who is trying to marry the way our grandparents married, which is just that you get to an age and you choose somebody, they have a gap in their knowledge, which they are not yet aware of. And that is the reason why now a typical young person actually has to be deliberate, has to be intentional about preparing for marriage. When we are talking of marriage preparation, we're not talking of premarital counseling, that kind of thing that people say when you go to your church and you say you want to marry, then they will say before they give you a date, you must go and go through the marriage committee. No, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is what is your understanding of marriage? What is your understanding of your own life? What are you looking for when you want to build a life together? What did you learn about marriage where you are coming from? What did the person you want to marry learn about marriage where they're coming from? So the need to consciously think about these things is why there is now a need for intentional preparation. If you are one of those people who is asking, what of our grandparents? They didn't do any preparation. No, they did plenty of preparation. The only difference is that preparation was an intrinsic part of their life. But right now, that preparation is not an intrinsic part of your own life. And so you are arriving at adulthood having a vague understanding of marriage. And that is part of the reason why a lot of people get into problems. So, Uche, is there a need for marriage preparation? Yes. In today's world, yes, yes, yes.
Amazing. Wow. That's powerful. Okay, just to back up to that question, man, I'd like to find out. So, when it comes to preparation, now from what you have said, times have changed. I mean, that's something that everyone can agree to. Because back in the day, there was nothing like social media. So, there was no, I don't know how to put it now, nothing that you're looking at and comparing your marriage. So, you know how people make their marriages look like everything is all perfect. So we are in a new era, and that's one of the reasons, one of the major reasons from what you have said, that's the reason why people need to prepare for marriage. But I'd like to ask you, so in preparing for marriage, intentionally preparing for marriage, what are the very key important things that people should look into? Because, I mean, just giving an overview, so someone is saying, so am I supposed to begin to, learn how to take care of the house? I know that that's part of it. What are some very key important things that people should look at when they start to prepare for marriage? When they say, okay, you know what, I'm getting ready for marriage. What are key things that they should look out for?
Okay. I think the very first thing that you want to look out for, in fact, that is, so when we say look out for, is not that you have met the person you want to marry. In fact,
yes,
the people who have not, when you don't even have a boyfriend, you don't have a girlfriend at all. That's the person we're talking about. The very first thing you want to look at is, who am I? when you ask yourself that question, who am I? What we're saying is, where are you coming from? What is your origin? What did you see about marriage? How does your culture define marriage? You know, because until you know yourself, until you know what has defined who you are and what you believe about marriage and how you think marriage should be done, you would not know what it is that you're looking for. So let me use that story I shared at the beginning. I said somebody from the Southeast Nigeria met somebody who was from the middle belt, and they started a relationship. Now, if that man knew himself, he would know, number one, that the people from the middle belt, they're very wary of Igbo people. Oh. And then he would find out, why do the people from the middle belt not like the people from the southeast? Then when he knows all of those things, he will now ask himself, if I meet a person from the Southeast region, am I ready to fight with my people in order to marry this person? And the person finds out that I cannot disagree with my parents, so I won't even have the strength. Then that person has known themselves. So when they see fine girl from Southeast, no matter how attractive she is, they won't go in that direction. They won't go in that direction because they know that they don't have muscle to fight the battle of taking that girl home and fighting with their family to get their family to agree. And if their family don't agree, they don't have the courage to cut off their family and say, if you don't agree with me. That's one of the things I mean about knowing yourself. So the very first thing in pre-marriage preparation is to even know yourself. Who are you? Where are you coming from? What are the things that have shaped your life? What are your life experiences? Have you seen good marriages? Do you know what make marriages to be good and work? What did you learn? Are there things that you have learned about marriage that you don't like? What effort are you going to make to discover people whose marriages are working? What are the principles that are making their own marriages work? So if you before you choose a partner is when you are supposed to know these things about yourself and know it about marriage. Why? When you meet the person that you want to marry, those will form. So I say to people that if you meet a girl you like, or you meet a man you like, you are not worrying about, do I like them or do I not like them? The first thing you are looking at is, should I even be in a relationship with this person at all? Because if you like somebody that you should not be in a relationship with, you will let your head rule your heart. But what many of us do is that we don't know these things about ourselves. We don't prepare ourselves. So we start liking somebody, and then we will now be making that person to fit the where we want to go. So the first thing, as I said, is to know yourself, know your origin, know your nurture, know the things that have influenced you, know the beliefs that you have about marriage. So, for example, if you're somebody who is very traditional and you have grown up in a place and you are thinking, I want my wife to be a very traditional person. When I talk, she must listen to me. Excuse me, why will you go and be toasting a girl like me who had first class honors in chemical engineering? Because you would already know that anybody who is smart enough to go to university and study engineering is going to have a sharp mouth and is going to have an opinion. And so, even if you like me, I am not the kind of person that you should be speaking to, not because I'm above you, but just because with the view of marriage that you have, I am not the kind of person that will fit you. And the same thing also goes for the women. So pre-marriage preparation is everything you do to understand yourself, to clarify what you want in a marriage, which will now help you when you see somebody who is a right fit for you. So when we train people to prepare themselves for marriage, We ask them to look at themselves. Do they understand humanity? Do they know what a human being is? And are they able to accept a human being? We ask them to look at the culture that they are holding on to. Is it a culture that supports human beings, or is it a culture that oppresses human beings? Then we ask them to look at what we call their own engineering. Who are they? What are the things that have shaped them? We ask them to look at their personality. And then when they know that, they also now begin to study marriage itself. How do two people live together? What if they disagree with one another? How do they make decisions together? How will you influence somebody who is disagreeing with you without both of you fighting? You know, how do you run a home together? How do you manage money? You know, all those, when you have children, how will you look at it? Those are things that you need to already begin to know. In the times of the village, by the time you are 18, they would already have taught you these things. But all of you who are listening to me now, especially those of you who are listening in the city, and even those who are living in the village, nobody is teaching anybody such a thing anymore, because everybody goes to school. And then when you graduate from university, everybody will start chasing you. Marry, marry, marry. So that's what I would say in response to your question, Uche.
Amazing. Wow. That's powerful, really. When you were speaking, right, I was just, imagining. I know that a lot of people have different definition for what a great marriage should be, because of course it is not one size fit all, right? I have to say it now. So I'd like for you to help us describe what a great marriage is, because I mean, when you come and tell them to prepare, they will give you references like this person did not. We can't remember them doing any preparation, but look at the marriage that they're having, and they're judging a great marriage with longevity because they've stayed, say, for like 10 years and they seem to be doing well. That's what they are saying. But is that really a great marriage? So I'd like for you to paint the picture, of what a great marriage, what an ideal great marriage is.
Okay. First of all, there are as many definitions of ideal marriage as there are human beings, for the simple reason that we are unique. God made us who we are. So for me, an overarching definition for an ideal marriage or a great marriage is a marriage in which the husband and wife have a common, that is, they have a mutually accepted understanding of marriage. Let me say that again. A great marriage is a marriage in which a husband and wife have a mutually agreed definition of marriage. So when I work with couples, preparing them for marriage, when they come to me, just the couple and me, the very first question I ask each of them, they have a worksheet. I say, what is your own definition of marriage? What is your family's definition of marriage? What is your tribe's definition of marriage? What does your country say marriage is? The reason why I'm asking them to think about this question is because, yes, marriage is a man and woman coming together to live life together. But how is that life going to be lived? So if somebody, for example, is thinking marriage is a man and woman coming together to live together, however, when they start living together, their relatives will not live with them. That's one definition of marriage. If that person, that's how they want their own marriage to be. If they go and marry somebody who thinks that relatives should be welcome in their homes all the time, then they will have a problem. What if somebody's understanding of marriage is the wife is going to stay at home all the time, and another person's definition of marriage is both of them are going to work? If the two of them marry, they will have problem. The reason why they're having problem is because what one person thinks a marriage should be is different from what the other person thinks a marriage should be. But when you see a couple whose marriage is great, you will find out that both of them have sat down and they have discussed, and so outsiders may not know it, but the two of them know what marriage is for them, and they are happy. That's the reason why you will see a man and woman. The husband is the provider, the woman is staying at home. Their flat will be quiet. You will not hear any noise. You will see another person. They are living in a similar flat. They have money. They will be quarreling every day. The reason for their quarrel is because the two of them have different definitions of marriage. And so definition of marriage is not just, so what I call the mountaintop definition of marriage is husband and wife are, man and woman come together in marriage. But for the individual, what is your definition of marriage? How will decisions be made in your home? How will money be made? How will money be managed? Who will be in charge of what? And so on and so forth. Those are the things that define marriage for you on the individual level. When you now add what you saw your father and mother do, what you saw your uncle and auntie do, and then you are looking at what they are saying on social media, and then you are looking at your personality and everything and everything. So if you just now meet one girl, date her for 6 months, and then girl, he says, let us marry, and both of you just go into marriage without actually discussing these things. Every single day when you want to make a decision, Mr.'s belief will be clashing with Mrs.'s belief. And then everybody will be coming to complain. My husband is this kind of a person. My wife is this kind of a person. No, the real issue behind many of those stories that you read is because before they met one another and got married, they didn't do the individual work of defining for themselves what they want. And when they came together, they didn't do the work of defining how their home is going to be. In fact, because of what I have seen when I am preparing people for marriage, and because of what I have seen when I am working with people who have been married for 10, 20, 15 years, that's the reason why we created the program we call Get Yourself Ready for Marriage, 12 weeks group coaching program. Because there are things you need to have learned and decided in your life, whether you are a man or woman, before you will start looking at somebody and saying, I like this person. So is it okay for chemistry? And that's for you to be attracted to somebody. Yes, it's okay. But when you are attracted to somebody, before you take hold of that attraction, you will first of all see, is this person a right fit for me? The first times you people will be going out, to Mr. Biggs or wherever you go, would be you looking at the person and they looking at you and be trying to see, should I even start a relationship with this person at all? When you skip that stage and you just choose somebody, or maybe, if you are from this part of the country where you can tell your auntie that they should please help you to get a girl, and you just take the girl and begin to do marriage preparations, or you are the girl and they say to you that, say uncle wants a wife, and they take you and you just agree. That's what is responsible for many of the challenges that we have, because people are going into marriage. Two people are coming together to go on a journey together. Both of them have not discussed which map are we going to use. If you are somebody who is living in Lagos, that's like wanting to go to Benin. Two people wanting to go to Benin. But before they set out, they didn't decide whether it's expressway through Shagamu that they're going to go, or is Ikorodu to Shagamu that they're going to go. And they now got to Ojota, they are quarreling about, why are you facing the expressway? Why don't you go through Ikorodu Road? That's what happens when you haven't intentionally prepared yourself for marriage, and you go and choose a partner, and your partner too didn't intentionally prepare themselves for marriage. Of course, when you start going on the journey together, you people will be quarreling. And if you are not blessed to meet somebody who will say, Paul, stop quarreling. This is the work you are supposed to do. You can stay 10, 15 years together and you will be unhappy. Uche. Uche, are you there? Wow. Can you all hear me? Please let me know in the chat box if you can still hear me.
I can hear you now, man.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. Ma, thank you so much. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, we just got yes, ma. Someone just said yes, ma, that they can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry I lost you at some point. I did good. So someone said
Okay.
good.
Okay,
What's
they are
like
hearing me,
fantastic.
so that's what's critical.
Yes, 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 ma'am. Fantastic. Yeah, so I can hear you, ma'am. Okay, so I want to believe that you're done with the question. That's thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. I know that this is more like a masterclass. My my duty is just to be asking the questions and allow you just just get into our heart, because there need to be a mind shift. This is the whole idea. While I was praying for this program, two scriptures came at me. So this is the Christian platform, so I'm allowed to talk about scriptures, the Christian platform rather. So one was, my children are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Yeah, because people do not know any better. They don't live any better. Hence the reason that they're suffering what they're suffering today. And then the next scripture I heard was, be ye transformed according to the renewing of your mind. So for you to be able to have the transformation, the ideal life that you're looking forward to having, then some sort of transformation needs to happen in your mind. So that's where you all start from. And these, for that to happen, you need to have, rich information, not just the information, because there are a lot of people. My puzzle, man, is this, that there are a lot of marriage programs everywhere. You see a lot of people doing so many things, doing different marriage relationship programs, yet we still have the high rate of, in fact, the rate is actually skyrocketing, as we speak, and it's not looking like it's reducing. I'd like for you to help us understand, man. So when we say that, we should intentionally prepare for marriage, what is the effect? And I'm asking based on your experience. You have had a wealth of experience currently dealing with different relationships and marriages. So what effect does pre-marriage counseling, intentional pre-marriage preparation, I beg your pardon, what effect does it have in marriage that non-marriage preparation? Okay, no, I mean, when is there's no marriage, pre-marriage, there's no preparation for it. It's just people stumbling into marriage and just thinking that everything is just going to fix itself. So I'd like for you to help us understand, what is the benefit, that thing that, or the edge that someone who prepares for marriage intentionally enjoys in marriage. I know you have said, you've been able to define very clear, and I heard that when you said one thing that defines great marriage is when the two people involved have the same understanding, when they have a united understanding of what marriage, not this one assuming that marriage should be this is how my parents did this, and this is how I know it to be. No, they come on the same platform and they say, okay, this is what our marriage should be, and they are working towards that. So I know that that's one of the benefits, right? For those who are intentional about. But one thing I'd like for you to help us understand is, what is the benefit, what is the advantage that people who intentionally prepare for marriage enjoy over those who don't? I think that's simply put, man.
Okay. The advantage is simple and straightforward. They are happier people. They're happier people. And this is the reason why they are happier people. So if a man and woman come together in marriage and they both intentionally prepared for marriage. And they have set up like what we call the constitution for what their marriage is going to be like. And they have defined the values that they're going to build their marriage. And they have defined together the vision that their relationship is going to have. So on a day-to-day basis, they don't have to be deciding a lot of things. Let me give you a practical illustration of what I mean. So when myself and my husband, when we met one another, we were privileged to have been prepared by our parents for marriage, as well as the church that I wanted to get married in. I have a book here which I will pick up and show. It's a workbook. So when you imagine that 38 years ago, before I got married, somebody actually made me to walk through a workbook where they were asking questions like, what is your vision for marriage together? How will you people make decisions together? Who will do what in your marriage? What if something happens that you are not prepared for? How are you going to resolve your quarrels, when they come up? How many children do you want to have? And if you don't have children, what will happen? So we were made to think and talk about all of these things even before we got married. Of course, what that means is that after we got married, even though we had misunderstanding, we knew that we had similar values. So my husband already knew that I wanted to work. He also wanted me to work. So for us, we didn't have to be discussing, you have to stay at home with the children. No, we have already discussed, you are going to work. And if you are going to work, how are we going to take care of the children? And we had made the arrangements. And he wanted me to work because according to him, he had seen many men die. And when they die, their wives didn't know left from right. So my husband wanted us to care for our children, but he also wanted that if anything happened to him, I will be able to care for our children. Now, people may be looking at us from outside and be thinking, can you imagine this woman goes to work in the morning and comes back? What is happening to their children? Those people looking at us didn't understand the reason why me and my husband chose the way that we did. And so we have to sit down and say, if you are to work for this reason, how is it going to affect us? How are we going to manage it? And so on and so forth. These were conversations that we had before we got married, and conversations that we continued to have. And even now that we have been married for 38 years, we still have those conversations, because now we are asking ourselves, we are old. How is our life going to be? So what is the benefit when people prepare intentionally for marriage? Number one, before they get married, they have already made a lot of important decisions that will guide their life together. So it reduces the quarrel and misunderstanding between the couples when marriage starts. The second benefit is that when they have had that kind of preparation and conversations, they are more patient with one another, because they realize that this person is different from me. This person is coming from a different place, and it is going to take us time before we become united. And the last benefit is that the couple are happy. A couple that is happy in marriage, it doesn't mean that they don't quarrel. It doesn't mean that they are not happy. But you see, because they know that fundamentally we are going to the same place, we have defined the destination, that's their vision for their life together. We have a map that both of us have agreed. So they are not quarreling along the way and saying, why are you taking this way? Why are we not taking this way? Because both of them have already agreed on the map. Of course, if you have decided to go on a journey together and you have agreed on the map, if your car breaks down on the way, both of you understand that it is the car that breaks down. If you don't have money to fix the car, both of you know that you don't have money to fix the car. So you will be happy with one another, because you are not thinking, Is it not that I married a wrong man? Why is this woman now treating me in the same way? So the benefit, the biggest result is that you have a marriage that is healthy and that is happy. And I want to say this to people. What Modukwe Ehirim and her husband think is a good marriage may be different from what Uche and her own husband think is a good marriage. So it is the principle of number one, Mr. should know what he wants, Mrs. should know what she wants. Both of them must now carry what they want and merge it into what we want. And when they now say this is what we want, they now have to ask themselves, how are we going to get what we want together? And so instead of making those decisions every day, what they will be working on is how do we solve problems together? How do we make decisions together? How do we understand one another better so that in this journey that we have decided to go on together, we have agreed the destination, we have agreed the map. How can we make one another's life easier? That will be the work they will be doing after they have gotten married. And that will make them happy. They will be happy because they know I'm doing this journey with somebody who sees me as a human being, somebody who is going to support me and who I am going to support so that both of us together will get to our destination.
Wow, amazing. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. I mean, there's just a lot that I'm learning. So, guys, please, if you are learning anything at all, no, that's not the right statement I wanted to say. I know you're learning a lot. I told you, you know, to look out for it, and this is it. See, this what we're learning here right now. People pay a lot for it. I'm not joking, because it's not a common knowledge that you find any and everywhere. So please, I need for you to take this very seriously. And while mommy is speaking, I also need you, whatever it is that gets at you, that comes at you, please put it up. Okay, Patmos Home says, that's great, ma'am. Fantastic. So the next question I want to ask you, ma'am, is this. So I am not married, and I know that a good number of the people who are on this call are also not married. But we heard something that happens in marriage, and we need for you to help us understand how we can begin to, because when we say prepare intentionally, and we know we heard that in marriage, couples do a lot of healthy marriages. In healthy marriages, they do a lot of communication. I mean, from what you have just explained, it would take people who are really open-minded to have these detailed conversations about their marriage. They're talking about their vision, they're talking about their values. I don't think that this is something that we see that is a common practice around us all the time. I mean, I'm speaking from experience. I can't recall my own parents sitting there talking about family vision. I don't know what a family vision is, if there's any. Okay. So but what I would want for you to help us understand this evening is, so in preparing for marriage, to enjoy, I mean, this picture that you have painted, beautiful. One thing that's coming to my mind is I know that marriage is a lifelong work, no wahala, as long as you're doing it with the person who is on the same page with you. So for us who are not married yet and are looking forward to getting married in a very short while, how do we start to learn communication? And I'm even talking about people who are not even in any relationship, of course. How do we start to learn how to communicate so that when we get into marriage, we will not need to go for premarital counseling? Because now we're in the marriage. How do we start to learn to communicate, to say, okay, I'm learning how to communicate because I'm preparing for my marriage, so that when I eventually get married, communication will not be a problem. Please help us with that understanding, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I think the first thing I want to say is, if you are here and you haven't joined the Right Fit Marriage Academy, join. The reason why I ask you to join is because the primary reason we created that community is so that people can start talking with one another. So when we discuss marriage, when we discuss family life in the Right Fit Marriage Academy, everybody is free to share their own opinion. The only thing is that you cannot be rude or be insulting someone else. And what the people who have been in the group for a long time have shared with me is that they have learned the power of slowing down and understanding what the other person is saying. What do I mean? You know, for most of us, especially on social media, once you just read a story, want to bagam, you just jump in the comments box and you start saying all kinds of things. And usually in the Right Fit Marriage Academy, the first thing I say to them is, I say, but they only just wrote a few sentences here. And you don't know these people. And you are already making assumptions. Why don't you ask questions? So for those of you who are single, if you are not able to have this conversation with somebody who you just met, all that is telling you as a person is that your conversation skills are poor. And so the place to even online, you can start practicing it. Practice reading what the person wrote. Think about what they wrote. Ask yourself what other things might be going on that they didn't say. And then if you have to ask questions before you respond, if you follow me online, you will observe that I don't talk much. But when I talk, you will see that I have thought about a lot of things and I actually ask questions. So that's the first thing. As a person, as long as there are people around you, the way to learn how to communicate is to begin practicing it. Uche, I'm online now, so I can't immediately send you a link. I will share a link with you of places where people can go and learn. So if you just join the Right Fit Marriage Academy and you interact, you'll be learning. But even if you don't join, you will learn. The second thing that you also need to know is right now you have what I call a pattern of communication. How did you get that pattern of communication? So if you grow up in a home where when your father talks, nobody else must talk, I guarantee you, you are going to be one of two people. You are going to be either somebody who, when somebody in a position of authority talks, you don't say anything because you are feeling, what will you say after authority person has spoken? Or you will be a person who is going to be thinking, my father oppressed me, I will not allow anybody else to oppress me. So it comes back to what I said about knowing yourself. You have to ask yourself, how do people communicate where you are coming from? When we say communication, we're not just talking of the words we're saying. We're also talking, what is the belief that is behind what you're saying? What are the assumptions that you make about the issues that are being discussed? All those things make up communication. And lastly, I would say that I have a course where I actually talk about these things. How do you, what pattern of communication do you have? When you begin to understand what that pattern of communication is, how do you break the pattern of communication that is not okay? And when you break the pattern of communication, what is healthy communication? What is assertive communication? And how can you grow all of those things? Giving an answer to that question of how do you communicate is probably going to be another entire edition of your program. But what is guaranteed is this: wherever you are, as long as there are people around you, you need to begin to practice to speak what is in your mind and also practice to find out what is on other people's mind. You have to be someone who is open. You can't be somebody who believes that you know everything. Communication in marriage is a skill, and anything that is a skill is something that can be learned. So your work is to begin to learn. And one quick way to begin to learn, I like the fact that social media is available to us. Look at yourself now and ask yourself that if somebody responds to you the way you respond to people on social media, how would you feel? And if you already know that the way you respond to people on social media is not the way you would like people to respond to you, then you know you have something to learn. And when I'm saying, how do you respond? There are some people on social media, they don't talk because they say, the wahala is too much. Well, what that is telling me about you is that even if you are with human beings, once you feel that wahala is too much, you will not like to talk. And it means that if you get into marriage, once you feel that wahala is too much from your partner, you will not like to talk. Now, if you're not talking, how will people know what is on your mind? And if people don't know what is on your mind, how will they treat you with respect? So communication is a skill. Communication is something that you are already doing every day. How you are currently doing it is showing you what you have already learned. The question is what you have already learned. So when you look at yourself, you are working in an office. What do people think of you? Do they think that you are somebody who knows how to communicate well? Or do they think you are somebody who is very rude and brash? Or do they think that you are somebody who anybody can walk all over? In the place where you are living, what do people look at about you? That's why we're saying you need to know yourself, because when you know yourself, you are already knowing, am I somebody who knows how to relate with people well? Am I somebody who knows how to make good decisions? You can do all of those things for yourself.
This is really getting heated here. Thank you so much. That's really powerful. Oh, in fact, I don't even know. There's something that's coming to my heart while listening to you. You know, you know how that sometimes we just live and learn from others. Like talking about contributing meaningfully on social media platform. You are one person that I know I've learned so much from, and it's the truth. You don't talk too much, but every time I see your comments on a post or anybody's post, I am to opening to read more, to see what Momo has to say, and it's always on point. And that's something I know, that I desire in my heart to be in. Yeah, sometimes I put up a post. I know I've got a few, wow, oh, this is nice, this is beautiful. I know it's not just for the wows, it's just to pass a message, because I know that my words are valued, or my words are valuable and they should be valued. And it all depends on the way that I present. This is showing us that we communicate every day, yes, but we need to become even more conscious as to how we do that, because especially for us who are still single together, you never can tell who's what. And I know that people have had testimonies by just putting a comment in a post, and they have had marriage relationships. Now, I'm sure you have some testimonies like that. Yeah, I remember you said something about people meeting on Facebook. People will only meet you that they are seeing what they are doing. If you are just the quiet type and say, I don't want wahala, I don't want anybody's, nobody will know and notice you and see what you're doing, or rate your level of intelligence and how you're responsive to certain matters. Because these are things that people are picking, factors that people are using to judge whether they want to go ahead to have interactions with you or not. Thank you so much, ma'am. So at this point, it's been a very powerful time here. I've been learning so much, and I want to believe that my people are also learning. Please, if you, I know I've been seeing a couple of comments in the chat box below. Fantastic. The way you communicate, Chisom Ike says, the way you communicate shows how much and what you have learned over time. That is so spot on. That is so true. I mean, and that's just you becoming very intentional in your communication. Ma'am, I'm going to ask you one more question. And I know you mentioned about programs that you have, and I know you have different courses, but there's this particular one. Guys, let me share something with you. So recently, I did a broadcast. Of course, some of you are here because you did the live broadcast. And, just inviting people to be a part of this conversation today. And guess what? Somebody that I really, admire and revere said, so he saw the flyer and said, wow, Uche, you are, no, Mrs. Modupe Ehirim is a queen of pre-marriage, okay, preparation. So Uche, you are in the right hand. I felt so good, guys. I felt so good, really. And I'm going to share in details why that is. Because There's something that we're currently, that I'm currently doing with my mommy more. That's the reason why I even had to bring her up here to say, see, I need a lot more people to hear this and be a part of what is going on here. And I'm glad that this broadcast is going to be here even after we're done with the live program, so that even those who watch the replay can.
Mm. Richie, are you there? Okay, we'll just wait for her to come. Okay, while we wait for her, if you can hear, okay, she's back.
Okay, Ma, can you hear me? You can hear
Yes, I
me,
can hear
okay?
you. Mm.
All right. I mean, if you can hear me, it's fine. So let me just continue. So, we're going to announce something. We're going to bring an announcement to you in a very short while. But I just need for Mommy to just talk on this, because this is one challenge I see in a lot of marriages. I am privileged also to be a part of a lot of marriages, and there's this factor, there's this thing that I see that just breaks my heart. Even though I know that people play down on it, they don't think that it means so much, because of course they're focusing on the love. You know how it does feel when you boy meets girl, they love themselves. Every other thing should take the burner position, and eventually things don't fall into place, because of course things are made to happen. They are not just assumed that they are going to happen. So the thing I'm talking about is personality difference. So I know of a couple of families or marriages where, because of their personality difference, they seem to always have rifts, conflicts, non-stop. Today they are lovey-dovey, tomorrow everybody is everywhere, and you're wondering, come, I thought these people said they had God. I mean, talking about Christians, you have people who said that they had God. God said that this person is my partner, this person is my wife, and they can't seem to manage their personality difference. To them, they may not even know that it's a challenge. They may not even know that the personality thing is the challenge. They just think that some of them tie it to the fact that there's one devil, one village person that is after their marriage. But when we look at it from, we just know that, okay, this somehow there's this, imbalance in their personality. I need for you to help us understand what role does personality, our individual personality, play in the marriage, and how should that be a factor for us in choosing who we accept to do life with on the long run?
Okay. There's no doubt that people having different personalities plays a role in the conflict that they have. In fact, I always say to people, see, because you and your partner, you have different origins, you have different nurture, you have different life experiences, and you have different life exposures, there will always be differences, there will always be conflict. So learning how to manage the conflict is a skill that you have to acquire. So, what do I mean? Um, yes, we are now aware that, I have this personality, you have this personality. What, even when people are aware of the personalities, one thing that they are not always aware of is the need to manage their expectations. So, what is an expectation? An expectation is a belief that I have that this is the way things are supposed to be. So, maybe if I'm a fun loving person, and so my attitude is, let us be, when we marry, we should be going out every week, and everything is okay. That is an expectation. So you are feeling, if this is not happening in our marriage, I will not be happy. The person you marry has a different personality, also has a different expectation. So part of what happens when you are intentional about preparing for marriage is that you would already know your personality. You would know the kind of behavior that goes with that kind of personality. So when you meet another person, you would also be able to look at their personality and see that, the expectations of this person, does it match my own expectation? And if the expectations don't match, you'll be able to say, okay, because I like this person, am I willing to adjust my expectation? Like I said earlier, many challenges that people have in marriage and which they give a label, the labels they give it are not the issue. So I'm going to share this practical illustration and then I'll stop. So for example, many people have in-law problems in marriages. And then they say, my mother-in-law hates me, my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, my father-in-law. I became a mother-in-law 2 years ago. I'm a good woman. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm a good woman. I try to treat people well. But the thing is that I had never been a mother-in-law before. I met my son's wife when they started dating. I know my life. I know my behavior. I know the things that I like to do. I know how I like things to be done. But this girl has just met me. She too she knows how her mother does. She knows how a lot of things are done. Every time she does something, my interpretation of it is based on what I want. Now, what I want is not necessarily the only way of doing things. It is taking me time. I'm having to understand my daughter-in-law. My daughter-in-law is having to understand me. There are things that have happened that I can very easily interpret as that she's a bad girl. There are things that she too can very easily interpret as that I'm a bad woman. But because both of us understand that we are different people, the kind of conversation that I say husband and wife have to have before they get married, even parents and their children and the children and the person the child marries have to have this conversation, because until you come to an understanding of one another, you cannot know it. So pre-marriage preparation is actually, these are the kind of things that you are doing. The program that I said I do, Get Yourself Ready for Marriage program. Now, by the time people go through this, the first thing they tell us is that, they have now seen the reason why they have to be patient with the people in their lives, because they now see that there is a lot that they don't know about the man they marry, about the woman they marry. There is a lot that they don't know yet about the family that they have married into. And there is a lot of work to be done to bring everybody to the same page. So usually when I want to work with couples who are already married, if they are having marriage problems and they come to me, I always ask them, did you intentionally prepare for marriage? And if the answer is no, I tell them that even though you have been married for 10 years, you see that work that you didn't do in the beginning, that's where we are going to start from. I'm not saying that they need to get married afresh, but the fact is that if they didn't do that work before they got married, it is the reason why they are having the problem. So what I usually say to people to help them to understand that is this: if you went into university and your WAEC papers were not complete, and somehow you manage to get in, eventually they're going to ask you to present your WAEC certificate. If the subjects that you present to them does not match the requirement for the course that you did in the university, you have to find a way of bringing a WAEC result that qualifies you to do that course. Otherwise, the university will not graduate you. Similarly for marriage, perhaps we have people who are already married here. If you find out that you are having difficulties and challenges this way, that way, you have to be honest with yourself. Did you really do pre-marriage preparation in an intentional way? And if you didn't, that would be the place to start. You can join the Right Fit Marriage Academy community on Facebook, like I said, Or you can also, buy my book, Marriage is Not a Trap. The soft copy is available, the audio copy is available, and if you are one of those people who would like the hard copy is also available. I also wrote the book 30 Reasons Why Couples Quarrel About Money. All my materials that I put out or that we share in the group, it is primarily to help people to understand that marriage is happening between two people who are strangers, and there is work to be done to understand one another and to understand what marriage is all about so that you both can live happily together.
Wow. This has been an insightful time so far, ma'am. Not just insightful, empowering. That's the word, really. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you very much. We'll ask you one very important question, and that will be on sex. But before we talk about that, because I know a lot of people have in their heart, okay, so if they say as Christians, all right, that we are not supposed to practice sex before marriage. So how do we prepare ahead of time so that when we get married, we will do it well? That's the question I would have to answer. But before you answer that, ma'am, you've talked about some of your products. You talked about the books that you've written, the Marriage is Not a Trap. I'd like for you to talk to us some more about the books and that program that I am a part of, that I'm so excited, that's making me so excited like this. They Get Yourself Ready for Marriage. These my people, my brothers and my sisters, they need to learn and know about this program. Please go ahead, ma'am, and talk about some of the products that you have for us now, please.
Okay, then. Uche is currently participating in my Get Yourself Ready for Marriage 12 weeks group coaching program. As I said to you, I've been working with couples now for about 7 years. And because I saw that working with married couples, a lot of what was happening is because people did not prepare themselves for marriage and either chose a partner that is not a right fit for them. And now that they're in marriage, they don't even have the skills and the knowledge and the tools to make the marriage work. That's why we created the Get Yourself Ready for Marriage 12 weeks group coaching program. The first thing about that program is that it is for 12 weeks. And the reason it is for 12 weeks is because if you make a decision to do the program and you cannot gather yourself to stay with it for 12 weeks, then you want to ask yourself, how am I going to gather myself and stay in marriage for 50 years? So that's the first thing. It's a 12-week program. Now, it is an online program. The reason why it is an online program, again, is because when you marry, you have to go through situations, whether it is comfortable for you or it is not comfortable for you, whether you like it or you don't like it. So people will come to the program and they will say, Mommy Mo, why is the material text? Can we have video? And I will say to them, no, you cannot have video, not because I cannot create video, but get used to doing things even when it is not comfortable for you, once you know that that is what you want. Now, what do we try to do in Get Yourself Ready for Marriage program? The first thing we want you to do is know yourself and become self-aware. So you will do a relationship readiness assessment. What do we look at in that relationship readiness assessment? We look at your beliefs about marriage. We look at your personality. We look at your love language. We look at whether you have had what we call advanced childhood experiences that are affecting the way that you relate with people. And then you will get a 1-hour session with a professional counselor who will go through that report for you. That assessment and the report alone, if you come to my office and you want to do it, we will charge you 50,000 naira for it. But because my colleagues and I, we sat and we said, is this how we are going to continue looking at things going bad? I persuaded them, and they all are volunteering their time to work with me on that program. And so we are able to do it at the price that we're doing it. So that's the first thing you get, a relationship assessment, and a 1-hour consultation session with a professional counselor. Then every week, we have about 14 topics. And the way we teach in the Right Fit Marriage Academy is not just talking to you. You are going to participate in a conversation that hundreds of people have already contributed to. So you will see different perspectives. You get that every week. And we do different topics. We look at what is transition from singleness to marriage. What should you expect in it? What is compatibility? What role does values have? You know, sex, money, family of origin, all of those kind of things. You will go through such topics over the 12-week period. Then we have interactive sessions every week for 8 weeks. And in those interactive sessions, we look at what do you understand about being a human being? What do you understand about culture? Which culture is empowering? What do you understand about your engineering? How has your background shaped you? What do you understand about your personality? And all of these sessions are taken by professional counselors. We always do them interactively so that everybody who is participating in it can have opportunity to ask questions. We don't just want you to read it or listen to it and then be worrying about it. Then we also come with people who are already married and happily married to share their own experiences, and so that you can also answer questions. So when you look at all of the people who will work with you over that 12-week period, the combined marriage experience that all of them have is close to 100 years. So they're trained professionals, but they're also people who have marriage experience and who are happily married in their own relationship. People always ask me, so who are the people that can join? Number one, if you're single and you have not yet had a partner, you are the best person to attend that course. Number two, if you're already in a relationship and you are thinking, is this person the right person for me? You are supposed to be on that program. Number three, if you're already engaged and you know you don't have 300,000 naira to pay me to do one-on-one counseling, you are supposed to be on that program. If you are married and you are thinking, all these things I'm hearing, I didn't know it before, you are supposed to be on that program. The reason is that what you don't know is what you don't know. The program takes place 3 times in a year. One starts in January, one starts in May, one starts in September. If you don't join at the beginning of the program, you have to wait until the next one, because there is no part of it that we allow you to miss. It is a program that you're going to do by yourself. Why? Because you have to cultivate the habit of searching for information for yourself, learning for yourself, because over the 50 years or more of your marriage, you're going to continue learning. The reason why you have to continue learning in today's world is because when my husband married me, there was no social media. There was no 24-hour television. There many things that are now in today, there wasn't. All these things keep on affecting our marriages. And so me and my husband, we have to start learning, how do you use social media in a way that will make your marriage okay? How do you do 24 hours television in a way that will make your marriage okay? My husband is a football fan. He wants to be watching football at all hours. We have to discuss it and say, you can't watch football anytime you want because it's affecting our marriage. So you have to cultivate a habit of learning. And that's part of what we're going to teach you in Get Yourself Ready for Marriage program. I'm sure you're going to be wondering, what is the price for this program? The price for it is 35,000 naira. Hear me, 35,000 naira for 12 weeks. That shows you that a lot of people have already put in their money to subsidize the program. And part of the reason why we're doing it is because It's one thing for us to be lamenting that marriages are not doing okay. It's another thing for us to be honest and support people and help people to get the information that is going to make the marriage work. Right there on the screen is where you can get to pay for the program. The next one is starting on January 15, 2024. Actually, if you pay in that link that was shared on the screen, you're going to pay 31,250. That means that you have a discount. So Uche is on the program, and it is because of the experience she had in that program that she said to me, Mommy Mo, you have to come and talk to my community. You have to come and talk to my community. So she has already done you a great favor, introducing you to me and introducing me,
wow. Mama, thank you so much. So, guys, you know what? I want to share my testimony so that you will know that my first and foremost, Mommy is giving you guys discounts. Me, I did not have discounts in my own time. So please, even if you are not paying like immediately, just even put it in the comment and say, thank you, Mommy Mo. Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Ma. And if you're paying immediately, please go ahead. Let me tell you how I stumbled on this opportunity. I call it an opportunity. Okay. So I had seen the advert and I thought, okay, should I enroll? What is there to learn about marriage? So I was asking this because, of course, I'm also privileged to be a marriage counselor. So I was like, I think I know everything there is to know about marriage. And this is just a very, very wrong assumption that a lot of us carry about, right? And so for some beautiful reason, I got to enroll in that program. Oh my God. Every time especially when we engage in the interactive session, every time I listen to the facilitators speak, I'm always saying, wow, wow, at the end. Like a couple of times, I would just want to type, wow, wow, powerful, enlightening truths that are being spewed out. So the thing about the truth is that I don't know how best to explain it. Like, they're not entirely new, but the presentation is just mind blowing. And for me, what that experience has created in my mind so far is that it has created a sense of awareness. Let me share my fears with you guys. So before now, I've always had this secret fear in my heart, of whether I was really ready for marriage. Because I'd heard too many things from people, and I became scared that if I eventually get married this way that I'm thinking, I don't know if my marriage will scale through. And I just had that fear nursed in my heart, for the longest time. Sometimes I just live in denial and tell myself, oh no, the fear is gone and I'm fine. I think I'm ready and all that. Until I was, made to enroll for this program. So when I did, and I started to learn a lot of things, like, I had to bring out that personality difference because it was very important. I learned about the fact that, about humanity, and cultural differences and how that play out. That it's not just enough to fall in love. You have to be open. You have to open your eyes to fall in love with the right person, because there are so many things that will eventually come up that, will not be there if you are just basing your marriage just by falling in love with someone and not considering a lot of things. These were things that my mind started to get opened up to. In fact, I had to private chat Mommy after one of the sessions, and I said, Mommy, right now I feel like I'm ready for marriage. Like, I feel it in my system that I'm ready for marriage. Like, I'm ready to wedge, by God's grace, any challenge that marriage will bring. Because of course we know that the challenges are inevitable. You heard when Mommy Mo said, even when she got married, they had their challenges. She and her husband of over 38 years now, they had their challenges, but they've been able to navigate and they've been able to scale through to the point that they're still very married, and not just grudgingly married, because I know that the people who are married and just enduring their marriages. No, from the way that she's spoken, you can very well tell that this is somebody who is having a blast in her marriage. And isn't it something that everyone is desirous of? See, let me tell you, in fact, let me just say this. See, the danger in marrying a wrong person, if there's anything like that, it is not just the marriage that you're putting in jeopardy. You're putting your life, your vision you're risking that, you're putting it in jeopardy. And I'm telling you, once the mistake is made from the beginning, you're already running on a keg of gunpowder that is going to explode anytime soon. And it doesn't matter that you're on that journey for 20 years. I'm not kidding you. So it's important to invest anything. It was an investment for me that I am so grateful. If Mommy Mom comes and says that, see, the fee for this program is double, I would gladly pay. I would gladly play. I'm not kidding you. The people, the facilitators are top notch, professionals. When I had my one-on-one, interactive session with the counselor that was assigned to me, it was in fact, it at first she was a professional, but it sounded, the way the conversation went was like we're sisters. She was just so professional. She was able to break down everything that I needed to know about my personality, about my readiness, and all that. And I could relate to everything that she was saying. So I'm saying all of this so that you can begin to know that, see, 2024 is a very good year to begin to invest into your marriage. And this doesn't even, I mean, you heard all the people that can participate in the program. Doesn't matter whether you think you're 18 or you still have your time ahead of you. See, the earlier, the better. It's the truth. The earlier, the better. Whether you're in the university, I know that I have a lot of university people who follow me here. Whether you're in the university, this is just the best time. You see all those your school pocket money, gather them. 35,000 naira is nothing. Look at me. It is nothing compared to the amount of challenges that will hit at you when you eventually get married and you get it wrong in marriage. So please, guys, make the most of this opportunity. Whether you're a man, you're a woman listening to me, or a lady, or a young man, whether you're in a relationship or you're not yet, please avail yourself of this opportunity. 2024, see, the link is still on the screen. Click on it now. Go on, just tell yourself, this is me investing in my personal development, investing in my marriage, investing in myself, and do it. See, your children will have, they will have to thank you for this. People around you will thank you for this that you've done, because they can now see, they can look at your marriage when you eventually get married and can have a model to pattern theirs after. So it's a long-term benefit that's going to bring for you. At the end of the day, you now ask yourself, what was it? The 35,000 was absolutely nothing compared to who I am today. So take my word for it. My mom didn't pay me to do this. I was the one. Ask her. In fact, let me tell you guys something. She had to make an exception to be here today. Ordinarily, she wouldn't take engagements on Sundays, right? But she had to make an exception to be here today because I just wanted her to pour her heart out to you. Listen, and even to me right now, I've even learned some more, right? To you guys. So please take advantage. Go and start saving. And some of you will say, I'm a student and save. I know.
Let me say something, Uche.
Go ahead.
Oluwatiwi, if you are listening, please share the link to the Telegram channel. So okay, if you really want to know what the program is about or you have questions, you can go to the Telegram channel. We have answered a lot of the questions that people would ordinarily ask about the Get Yourself Ready for Marriage. And even if you have questions which we have not yet answered, we will answer it then. Also, fantastic. If you don't have 35,000 naira in a go and you want to pay in installments, we will also allow you to pay in 3 installments, provided you complete payments before the program. Why? Because primarily for me, this program is me putting my mouth, putting my action where my mouth is. I created the program because I have a lot of people who see the program that I charge 300,000, 500,000 for, and they come. And when they look at the price, they say, please, ma, we cannot afford this. My colleagues who I brought onto the program, we sat down and we had a meeting and we said to them, see, all of us can continue shouting on social media. We don't know where marriage is going. If people don't know and we don't hold their hands and help them to know, then we cannot say that they're not doing the best. And they have collectively agreed that they will support this program. So essentially, the program that you're paying 35, look at it yourself, 35,000 for 12 weeks. That's under 3,000 naira for every week. Where would you get somebody like me serving you for 12 weeks? I know what my
3,000
hourly
naira.
rate is.
Mm.
So go to the Telegram group. If Boluatiwi is not here, my assistant, and she doesn't put it in, okay, I think let me put it in the chat myself.
Okay, ma.
Yes, let me put, I hope that I have, oh, it's saying connect. Ooh, okay, Uche, I'll send it to you in the private chat here, and then you can take it
Okay,
from
ma.
there.
All right, ma. All right, go ahead, ma. Okay, so while I am waiting for that, ma'am, please, there's someone who has just asked a question. Let me see. So the question is, this is from eMoney Waiwo. Okay, so he says, Mommy Mo, this question is for you, ma'am. Is it
Okay.
right for someone to be in a relationship when you're fully aware that it is not yet time for you to think or plan for marriage? Question, ma'am, please.
I like that question. It's a very, very great question. Even before I became a marriage
Yes, it
counselor,
is.
I used to say to people that every time you approach somebody of the opposite sex and you say you want a relationship, you've got to ask yourself, what is the purpose of that relationship? So I would say, if you know that for another 3-4 years, you don't have plans of getting married, I would encourage you not to go into any relationship just yet. Why? Because what would you be doing in that relationship? Some people would say we want to get to know people. Now, my response to it is that you can get to know somebody without making them your boyfriend or girlfriend. Of course, there is a danger that they might go with somebody else, and then you would also still know. Now, if you also like someone and you want to start a relationship with them, and you know you don't want to marry for a couple of years, you've got to define very clearly that to them. So the way that relationships is supposed to go is, first I meet you and I like you, and I think that, okay, this might be somebody I want to do life with. At that point in time, you don't know me enough to make the decision about whether you want to spend life with me. Your first act should be to get to know me and to be friends with me. Now, if you have done the pre-marriage preparation work, for example, if you go through Get Yourself Ready for Marriage program, you would already know the kind of things that you should be looking at in someone. And if you see this and you don't want to miss this person, then you're going to say to the person, you know, I like you. I think that I would like to marry you in the future, but right now I have A, B, C, D to do before I will get to the stage of the marriage. Now, if you're a man and you're talking to a woman, the woman has got to be courageous too and say, you don't want to marry until 4 years' time. I'm already 28. I don't want to wait for 4 years before I get married. Once you start having that conversation that way, what that is showing you is that this person may not be the person for you, because you don't want to marry until 4 years and they need to marry in the next 2 years. Somebody has got to shift. And if both of you can't shift, that means that relationship should not start at all. So if there's somebody who also doesn't want to marry for another 4 years, when both of you talk, when you find yourself mutually agreeing, you can say, okay, let's start a relationship. However, we know that marriage is not going to come. Both of us are going to keep busy. Both of us are going to start learning about one another, and both of us are going to go on. What usually causes the problem is that somebody who knows that they are not ready for marriage and have no plans to marry in the foreseeable future is having a relationship with somebody who is already assuming that this relationship is going to end in marriage and is going to end in marriage very soon. That's what you want to avoid. If you were with me, Nwiwu, and we were having a conversation, I will ask you a lot more questions in order to give you a clearer answer. But the general answer to this question is that if you are not yet thinking or planning of marriage in another 2 or 3 years, then you really should not be getting into a serious relationship with anyone. But if you want to get into a serious relationship with anyone because you don't want to lose them, first of all, you have to declare your intentions to them, and you have to tell them that I am not yet thinking of marriage. And they have to be courageous to look at, if they want marriage immediately, both of you should just know that that is the end. You can't be thinking, let me see whether if I get to know her better or all those kind of things. No, because you would be making a promise to somebody that you want what they want when you already know that what they want is not what you want at the current time. I hope that answers your question. Okay, while I wait for Uche, I think I can see another question by
okay, thank you so much. I was trying to get the
I can see another question by Chisom Ike. She said, my question is there an age bracket for getting married, especially for ladies who are already in their late 20s? We're in a society where pressure to get married is high. Let me first of all respond to that last statement. There is pressure in life for everything. When you are under 10, they'll be pressuring you to pass common entrance and get into secondary school. When you finish secondary school, they'll be pressuring you to pass university and go into university. When you come out of university, they'll be pressuring you to get married. When you get married, they'll be pressuring you to do a lot of things. One mark of an adult is, when you are a child, you are not able to resist pressure. When you are an adult, one thing that shows that you are an adult is that you are able to resist pressure. What helps you to resist pressure is that you think to yourself that this thing they are asking me to do, what is the implication if I go with what they ask me to do? And if I go with that implication, if I do it, what will be the consequences, and who is going to live with that consequence? Chisom has further asked, how does one deal with society and family pressure with regards to pressure in marriage? Yesterday, I wrote a post addressing that issue on my personal page, Modupe Ehirim on Facebook. So go there and read it. Once you become an adult, realize one thing. There is only one person who is going to live with the consequences of the choices you make. So if you feel people are putting you under pressure and you go and marry somebody who you ought not to marry, you are the only person who will be unhappy in that marriage. Many women and men are marrying late, chiefly because fear is in their heart. So what do I mean by fear is in their heart? Because they don't know enough about marriage, because they don't know how to prepare intentionally for marriage, they don't know how to recognize the opportunities that come their way. And for me, I think that's what you should focus on more. As I said, regarding how to handle the pressure, you have to know one thing. Everybody has an opinion about how you should live and what should happen in your life. But you are the only person who is going to live with the consequences of whatever you do. So focus on equipping and preparing yourself for marriage. Focus on equipping and recognizing what you should do to get a partner, and do it at your own pace and in your own time. And then you will live with the consequences of the wise decisions that you make. For Chisom, just go to Facebook, Go to my page. It is yesterday I wrote that post. I titled it, If You Are Over 30 and You Are Under Pressure from Your Family to Marry. Which, are you there?
Oof. All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, and thank you for thank you the other guy for the questions, powerful questions. We are about to call it a wrap. It's been an enlightening moment. I want to believe it has been an insight. So I've just put the Telegram link. Please click on it so that it would redirect you to the get Telegram group. Is that where they can find all the testimonials from different from those who have graduated from the course. At least you can find, and every question that you need to ask, you find it there.
Questions and everything.
Yeah, they're there. All right, fantastic. Mommy, thank you so much. Thank you. Please, guys, let me put in the comment, say thank you, ma, thank you, ma, thank you, mommy. Just please let me thank her. So while you're doing that, mommy, please, I mean, I would this show will not be very complete if you don't answer this question, because I had already mentioned it. I'd like for you to just quickly, in a few words, just answer the question about sex. Because a lot of people ask this question, and I have also at one point in time also asked this question. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because of what I am also, I watched the video recently, and that's just the first time. I think it was about the second or third video of people who actually waited until marriage to have sex because, of course, they wanted to, do things right. But upon getting into marriage, they realized that, of course, they had these very painful experiences, and they were almost regretting their, decision of having to wait. They were, kind of saying things like, maybe if we had known, they would have just done it ahead of time, that, upon coming to marriage, it would have been easier and we would not have to go through this torture and pain. So for those of us who are intended to be intentional about our waiting and getting ourselves intentionally preparing for marriage, can I ask that you help us understand how we can prepare in terms of, our sexual life, right? What are the things we can do to get ourselves ready as well for a great sexual experience? Because we understand, we had some of us are not married. We also heard that one of the things that makes for a great marriage is a healthy sex life. Please, you will confirm that, ma'am. And then, so we would need for you to just help us very briefly, help us understand how to get ourselves ready while we're preparing for marriage, so that when we get into marriage, we will not be surprised at what we'll find there. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, then. Well, number one, there are many things that we don't talk about. Sex is one of them. And that's part of what the problem is. Most people learn about sex by hearsay. Most people never intentionally set out to learn about sex. These days, when we teach parents, teaching them sexuality so that people can know their bodies and know what is going on. People say, maybe we should try out sex. Well, the thing is this: if you're single and you are doing sex with a partner and you never intentionally studied sexuality, you are still going to be learning the wrong things. And then you will compound your problems when you get married, especially if the person you end up marrying is not the person that you did sex with. Now, if you go through a program like Get Yourself Ready for Marriage program, we will address sex. The very first thing that you need to do is like marriage. You need to understand sex. And we had somebody who dealt extensively with that in the program. The second thing is that when you start getting ready for marriage, you and your partner, especially if you are already having the kind of conversations that you are talking about, both of you have to now learn about sex together. when you start learning about sex together, when you get married, you are now, when we say learn about sex together, we are not saying try it out. There are books that are written that will help you. I have a couple of my colleagues are sex therapists. And one of the things they first taught us is that sex is not only about the penis and the vagina. There are a lot of other parts of your body that have to do with sex. But how many people know that? So when you learn all of those things, what a couple is now supposed to do, as with every other thing in their life, is to learn one another's bodies, learn what gives pleasure to your own partner, and do those things for them, and learn, and your partner too will do the same. What is currently creating problem is that many people are learning from pornography. Many people are learning from hearsay. Hearsay is all those things you see people discussing online, and you are assuming that because they are discussing it, they are doing it, and they are telling you. We have one case of one lady who, she and her husband were very happy. And then her friend told her that, there is this way of having sex. If you haven't had it, you have not enjoyed at all. That in fact, that is the cloud nine of sex. And from hearing that, that woman became dissatisfied with her husband. And she knew it was something that her husband was not going to agree to. And she was now feeling, this is somebody who has been enjoying life with her husband, though, until she had her friend. She does not even know whether that friend is actually doing that thing. No, the friend just told her, if you haven't done this, you have not reached cloud nine. And now she's unhappy with a man that she has been previously happy with. So what makes for happiness in marriage? Yes, sex contributes to it. But what makes it contribute is the work that the man and the woman put into learning about sex together, learning about their bodies together, and then practicing it. So if you practice before you get married, number one, if you practice and that's not the person you end up with, what is now going to happen to you? If you practice and that's not the person you ended up with, what are you going to tell the person you marry? If you practice and you get pregnant, what are you going to say to yourself? So that's why we're saying that knowing what to prepare, how to prepare is what your work is now. Because once you have the right knowledge and the right perspective and the right understanding, you don't have to be afraid. Now, the very worst thing that can happen is that maybe you will now find out after marriage that maybe the man is impotent, or maybe the woman has some other things to do. What I always say to people is that you can be afraid. You can be afraid of all kinds of things. See, when you get married, many things can happen that will take sex away from you. Even if you have tried and tested and the person is perfect. What if the person begins to have the kind of high blood pressure that when they give him medication, the medication will take away his sexual ability? And he has to take that medication because his life is depending on it. What if illness happens to the woman and it is affecting her? So when people say, what is more important in marriage is that the man and woman come to a place where they can rely on one another, where they can hold one another's hand. And if you talk to many married people, this and that of life is not even giving them the energy to have the sex. So don't be afraid. Don't let fear drive your decision about marriage. Educate yourself. Educate yourself. Be knowledgeable. Continue educating yourself. There is nothing that is going to fall down from the sky that has not fallen down before. Once you know a lot of things, you will know how to manage whatever situation you meet in marriage. That's where I will rest it.
Amazing. Thank you, Ma. That just caps it all. Be knowledgeable. Just go all out for knowledge. be knowledgeable. That's it. Once you are one who is open to becoming knowledgeable, you'll be amazed. As in when you're intentional about it, not just passively looking into it, intentional about, you'll be amazed at the information that you will find that will be very helpful to you. And please don't forget to click on the link. It's on the comment section. Make sure to go and subscribe to Get Yourself Ready. I see the name said Get Yourself Ready for Marriage. I won't get you ready for marriage. It is you by yourself that will get yourself ready for marriage. So please go and sign up for that course like right away, and kindly follow Mommy Mo on all her social media page. See, I would ordinarily not canvas that follow anyone, but you see, Mommy Mo, if you are one who really wants to get it right, follow her. She has stories to share. I mean, it's just that we have limited time. This woman she has stories, she has experience, she has experiential knowledge, and even the experience of the people that she has worked with over the years. And these things she put on her group page, even on her own personal profile page. So please follow her up on her social media handles, right? And also join the Telegram platform. There you have, I mean, tons and tons of testimonies, and you also have the opportunity to ask questions that you need to know, especially with respect to the Get Yourself Ready for Marriage preparation. You can also purchase her books. Her books are on seller. The Marriage is Not a Trap, and reasons people quarrel over marriage, right? So over money in marriage, rather. So please go and get copies of this book and just get yourself ready for marriage. Because see, it is in doing marriage well that you can very well fulfill the assignment that God has given to you. I'm not saying that as a single person you can't get that done, right? But if you intend to get married and enjoy, I mean, anything worth doing is worth doing well, isn't it? Good. If you intend to get married and you want to enjoy it, then invest everything that you need to invest in at this point in time. I'm not kidding you. People are divorcing and separating even after 20 something years in marriage. And the reason that they are separating is not, it didn't start just at that 20 something. It started from the beginning. There were fundamentals. There were some very essential things that they did not take care of, and they've been able to drag, and that's why you hear statements like marriage is not to be endured but to be enjoyed. Please, the reason why you will endure marriage is if you are not intentional about getting yourself ready for it. If you want to enjoy it, like Mommy Mo is enjoying her 38 years of marriage, then you just have to do what she's urging you to do. You know how they say, follow who no road. Please, that's my charge to you. I beg, follow who no road. So this is going to bring us to the end of this conversation, and we want to say a big thank you. Please, guys, let me put it in the comments. Tell Mommy Mo, thank you, ma. God bless you, ma. That we love you. We celebrate you. We thank you. More anointing, more grace. Please put it in the comments, and I'm sure she'll read them all. Thank you so much, Mommy Mo. Thank you very, very much. So to wrap this program up, we would like for you to just say a short word of prayer, a motherly prayer for us. Just release grace on our lives so that, we will also enjoy what you're enjoying. It doesn't come easy. We don't have so many of these examples being depicted to us in this day and age. So, but that we have you and we have you on this call is no small feat at all. So we just want you to just release your motherly blessings to our lives, and then we call it a wrap for today. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, then let us pray together. Our Father and our God, we are grateful. Thank you for technology. You gifted it to us. Thank you for everyone who has been a part of this program today, and for all those who are subscribers to this channel, and for all those who are still going to listen to this program. Father, each one of them is known to you. You care for them. They long to be married, and they want to be married and be happy. Father, I ask that you who brought them here today will hold their hand and you will walk with them in Jesus' name. Lord, you will lead them to the person that you have prepared for them. You will help them to recognize that person, and you will help the person to recognize them. And Father, when they have met, you will enable them to come to a mutually agreed definition of marriage for themselves, and they will walk together in your grace. You, Lord, want people to be happy in their marriage. You want marriage to be good, because it is in the homes that start from marriages that communities are built. Grant, Father, that many of those who have listened to us today will be able to look back to today and say, today, November 26, 2023, in my life marked a turning point for me. Grant that they will all come back with testimonies saying, see what God has done for me. Thank you for hearing us, for we have prayed in Jesus' name. Amen.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. It was such a great honor to have you on the program today. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. So you've heard it all from Mommy Mo. Thank you, ma'am. You can go. So you've heard it all from Mommy Mo. Please go ahead and seek knowledge. Be very intentional about the knowledge that you seek. And please don't forget to go and register for that course. Please register, and I know you will thank me later for it. I'm not kidding. I know a lot of my people, some of you are serving you're doing your NYC program, you're still in school, you're out of school, you're working already. Go and get that course. I'm vouching for it because I am a participant in that program. Go ahead and avail yourself that opportunity. It's a 12 weeks coaching program, but it is so, I mean, so flexible. You're not under pressure to deliver on anything, but then you will see the programs and so professionally done. Come on. So please go ahead and get yourself, registered for the program. And this is to both men and women, please. Even if those who are married as well, you also can participate in that program. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of today's talk show. We hope to continue some other time, and we'll bring other guests into the show to, also impact us. Thank you so much. Make sure to go ahead and have a beautiful week as you keep winning. I'll see you next time. God bless you. Bye for now.